Alrighty, yo, what is going on, everybody? It's your boy, Mr. DDG94 here, back with another reaction video. Today, we finna react to how A.K.A. cartoon became stagnant. If y'all don't know, this is the creators of Ed, and Eddie, arguably the greatest cartoon ever fucking created. Yes, I said the greatest. I don't give a damn. SpongeBob been ass. SpongeBob been ass since 2005. Come on, bro. Stop the cap. Stop the cap. SpongeBob been ass since 2005. Stop the cap. But anyways, though, without further ado, let's get right into this.
We all love Ed and Eddie, and to celebrate the 25th anniversary of the show, looking into A.K.A. cartoon is more feasible than just looking into the show, a step further than your original Ed's video. An indie studio that stood its ground in not only making sure that it has its creative freedom, but making sure that it stood true to the edgy, grotesque 90s vibe. But was this contributing to its downfall?
Do not adjust your set.
Before we can get into the meat of the topic, the first course is Danny Antonucci, the Italian-Canadian immigrant who grew up loving cartoons and looked to many inspirations from his family and upbringing, which can be seen in his characters such as Lupo and Roll.
I love this music. It is so shiny.
During the beginning of his career, Danny would drop out of Sheridan College to work for Hanna-Barbera's division, Canimage Production. At the time at Hanna-Barbera, he would work on Richie Rich, Scooby-Doo and Scrappy-Doo, The Smurfs, and the Flintstones comedy show. Later on, would land a job at International Rocket Ship Limited before making his move to Los Angeles. This studio would be responsible for these moves here. From the late 80s to early 90s, Dandy would make cartoons for different companies under International Rocket Ship. The first show to be created under the company was Lupo the Butcher. The Butcher would get upset at small mistakes he would make, as well as shout profanities at the meat if it didn't come out the way he thought it would. Lupo became a success as a mascot for Levi Strauss & Company, MTV, and Converse. The short film was also revered at Spike and Mike's Sick and Twisted Festival of Animation. Lupo the Butcher was a take on Danny's frustrations working on kids' films for too long and created a grotesque, edgy character that represented something else. Danny would also get into Canadian films such as Heavy Metal, The Chipmunk Adventure, Hooray for Sandbox Land, and Jammed Let's Chop Suey, and Deadly Deposits. By 1994, Danny would make this move that would blow up his career. On April 1st, 1994,
April Fools!
Danny would create his own independent company, A.K.A. Cartoon. First show to come out of the studio was The Brothers Grunt for MTV. The show would have a short run from 1994 to 1995 about the brothers getting back their chosen one, Perry, from the human surface. MTV would also get the show Cartoon Sushi, which was a skit show that was a lot more gross and edgy, akin to Kablam, What a Cartoon, and Oh Yeah Cartoons. Fun fact, John R. Dilworth would produce certain episodes and skits before going on to make the pilot script to Courage the Cowardly Dog. Although these were short-lived, Danny would create this masterpiece that all of us know.
Do it for Ed, Eddie.
I'd swear, but standards won't let me.
After Danny's time on MTV, someone at the studio would dare him to make a kid's cartoon. As frustrated as Danny was about this, he makes a cartoon about three outcasts in the cul-de-sac, and Ed, and Eddie was born. During the making of the cartoon, Danny would bring over the pilot script to Nickelodeon. At the time, Nickelodeon was dealing with Nicktoons, would greenlight the series, however.
Damn, Nickelodeon dropped the ball. Damn. Nickelodeon could have had two of the most iconic cartoons of all time. No, would have had three of the most iconic cartoons of all time. Rugrats, SpongeBob, Ed, and Eddie. Yo, hey, Nickelodeon would have had it, bro. Nickelodeon would have had it. I would have gave it to Nickelodeon, bro, because they had Ed and Eddie, but nah.
Would stifle creative freedom on the show, making sure it fit with Nickelodeon standards, which clearly went against their core philosophy. After rejecting the offer, brings the cartoon over to Cartoon Network. Mike Lazo is appointed assistant to directors and loves the edgy cartoon. Lazo then orders the first season with full creative freedom. On January 4th of 1999, the show was released with the first episode, The Ed Touchables. Danny created the world as he grew up, and the Eds are a manifestation on how Danny and his sons are emulated. The cartoon also takes inspiration from a lot of cartoons from the 1930s and 40s. If you look more closely, Ed, Ed and Eddie is our modern day Charlie Brown and the Peanuts gang. You have your Charlie Brown, Schroeder, Lucy, Peppermint Patty, and minority character. I mean, come on. Johnny 2x4 is a combination of Franklin and Linus Van Pelt.
What? You hate bald kids too?
The animation style keeps up with the Peanuts cartoons, from Ed's iconic runs to the outlines, which also represent squiggle vision, which is a computer animation style and program invented by Time Snyder from Soup to Nuts, responsible for the show's Science Court, Dr. Katz, Professional Therapist, and home movies. Music scores range from jazz to 12-tone blues, while the intro song is a tribute to Bob Crosby and the Bobcat song Big Noise from Winnetka. The main theme whistle came from Danny himself, while the compositions came from Patrick Kyard. The story is basically the Eds getting into trouble with scams for 25 cents to acquire jawbreakers. With Eddie played by Tony Sampson, the idea and leader, Ed, Double D, or Sockhead played by Sam Vincent, the inventor and assistant to the ear of Eddie, and Ed played by Matt Hill, the brawn, dim-witted, happy-go-lucky member of the team. Everyone thinks the story was a Scam of the Week episode, which is semi-right, but it gets a little deeper. The Eds were outcast to the cul-de-sac kids mainly because of the fear of Eddie's brother, who used to terrorize and swindle the kids. Eddie followed in his brother's footsteps to gain acceptance, plaguing Eddie's attempts to be a part of the cool kids. It wasn't until the episodes Oh Ed 11 and Ed is Born and Ed Pass It On do you understand why Eddie is the way that he is and tries so hard to make himself look cool. But with him and the Eds being rejected, do you find the dynamic of the Eds to be a triangular balance? Eddie comes up with the ideas that usually don't have certain malice and comes from a place where he wants to profit. Almost every scam he does comes from him wanting to get back at the cul-de-sac kids. Double D, although helps assist Eddie with his scams, also becomes the rational mind and talks to Eddie on a level in which he can understand, while Eddie rejects certain things till the last minute, looks to Double D to balance his ideas. And Ed, while slapstick as well as Eddie's punching bag at times, is the base of the friendship. While he may be slow, he cares about Eddie and Double D, while using his Lenny-like strength and loyalty to be there for his friends. The cartoon follows the Peanuts formula, making the parents non-existent or silhouettes to represent an adult authority. And later seasons would change seasons to change the world of Peach Creek and to see what the Eds would be like in a setting not like the cul-de-sac. The show was a huge success with Cartoon Network. The show would win a Reuben Award, a Soken, and Leo Awards, as well as 11 nominations.
Didn't we win an Emmy for that episode?
Hardly.
While being viewed in 29 million households during its launch. Cartoon Network would also release music video shorts such as The Incredible Shrinking Day and My Best Friend Plank, released in 2002 and 2003. While the network would release best-selling video games Ed, Edd and Eddy Jawbreakers for the Game Boy Advance, Ed, Edd and Eddy Giant Jawbreakers for mobile phones in 2004, Ed, Edd and Eddy The Misadventures in 2005, and Ed, Edd and Eddy Scam of the Century in 2006. The show would also receive 4 specials for the holiday season such as Hanky Panky Hubbabaloo, Boo Ha Ha, Jingle Jingle Jangle, and The Eds Are Coming, a CN Invaded special. In 2009, Season 6 was withheld to only 3 episodes to make the movie, which took 2 years to do with the original cast. The movie is a season finale to the Ed, Edd and Eddy trilogy after a scam gone wrong brings the Eds to flee the Peach Creek cul-de-sac on a quest to find Eddie's brother to protect them from the wrath of the cul-de-sac kids. Everyone is tested, from Kevin and Naz's quasi-relationship to Johnny's declining mental health and the Eds' friendship. The friendship between Double D and Eddie is highlighted more as Eddie, who would create scams to get quarters for candy, would get them jammed up time and time again. While the Eds would receive punishment, the damage done was way too far this time, making Ed confront Eddie's childish demeanor, while Eddie throughout the show would never learn a lesson and make every attempt to be cool. However, he would see that every attempt was crushing him on the inside, realizing that his only 2 friends in the world is all he had left in times of crisis, only to drive it home to when Eddie would seek protection from his brother, would exert violence and humiliation against his brother, making the entire neighborhood realize why Eddie was the way he was. After his brother's defeat, comes to the realization that everything, including the movie's events, was a lie and cover-up so that people would see him as cool, and that carrying his brother's legacy in the cul-de-sac was the reason for the trio's outcasting. The kids would come to a charge, and in a last-minute plea of apology, the kids accept Eddie's apology and understand that all Eddie wanted was to be accepted, and after the journey was done, the Eds and the cul-de-sac kids become friends, while Johnny 2x4 becomes the outcast, mainly because he was weird to begin with. With the kids singing the friendship song, Johnny and Plank become evil and want to exact vengeance on the cul-de-sac kids, but fail to do so. Ed, Edd n Eddy was a huge success for A.K.A, but after 2009, Danny would sign with Wildbrain and would get into a deal with Netflix to make Snockrocket in 2017, but gets canceled due to Danny wanting creative freedom. And after that, we haven't heard anything since then. And maybe it's good that way. Danny Antonucci gave us laughs, funny sound effects, and a timeless classic. However, demands full creative freedom, which corporate executives fail to understand. That's how A.K.A cartoons are made. If there is no creative freedom, why create cartoons? I wouldn't want another Ed, Edd n Eddy reboot. The kids are all friends, and the trio scams are done, since they can get jawbreakers from Kevin. You could do something with Johnny and Plank, but it won't be as good. Understanding why we haven't heard from Danny after the Big Picture show is understanding. After Cartoon Network had made bad business deals, A.K.A would lose its status as an out-of-house animation studio and would need to look elsewhere. But without creative freedom, we don't get a Danny Antonucci classic.
Damn. That was my. Hey, low key, this is my favorite episode, bro. This is my favorite episode. Wow. Most definitely, man. This was my Hey, damn, dog. They won't let that man have creative freedom. That's crazy, bro. You got to give that man creative freedom, or else how he gonna make his shows? They want to censor and control everything now. That's why it's like. That's why you don't get. That's why this generation don't get no good cartoons no more. Because everything got to be censored. Everything got to be controlled. Everything has to fit the agenda. It's like, yo, let people create what they trying to create. Let people create masterpieces. That's why we got so many good cartoons in the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s. They don't do that no more because everything has to fit an agenda now. And that takes away from just making a good show. Like, why do we have to put things with an agenda? Like, just give us a good show. And that's why I say Ed, Edd n Eddy is the greatest cartoon to ever fucking exist. Because they gave him the freedom to just make a show. And do it in a way how he wanted to do it. I don't care what anybody says. Like I said, SpongeBob needs to retire. The Simpsons been overrated for years. Family Guy was never funny, in my personal opinion. South Park don't hit the same. I'm just keeping it real, bruh. Ed, Edd n Eddy still be hitting though. It just, yeah. But anyways, though, that's just gonna about do it for this one. I will see you all in the next video. Till then, peace out.